Well, it took me 7.5 hours on a 120 megabit internet connection to download and install it, but Star Citizen 1.1 is finally on my computer. Whoa, hang on, Jingles. What do you mean, Star Citizen 1.1? The game's out? Why didn't I hear about this? No. No, this is basically just Arena Commander, the same Arena Commander that they've been tinkering with for over a year with no real signs of progress. Except now they're calling it Star Citizen 1.1. However, lest you think I'm being too cynical and negative here, it's important that you understand what I mean when I say no visible signs of progress in over a year. Because there has actually been a huge amount of work gone into the creation of Star Citizen 1.1. So much work, in fact, that they have highly recommended that rather than simply updating, you do a clean full reinstall because so much has changed behind the scenes. And that, of course, is why it took me 7.5 hours to download and reinstall something that looks almost exactly like what has already been sitting on my hard drive and gathering dust for the last 6 months. There are, of course, a couple of notable, obvious changes. There's 2 new ships. One of them will only cost you $300. The other one, I think, is $110. I'm not entirely sure. But they're both 3-figure prices. These are, of course, pledge ships, the Gladius and the Retaliator. Yes, the Retaliator, the ship that I paid for over a year ago, has finally made it into... Well, I hesitate to use the term into the game, because it doesn't matter what they call it. They can call it Star Citizen 1.1, Arena Commander 2.0. Hell, they could call it the Bolivian Navy on maneuvers in the South Pacific. For all the difference it would make, this is not a game, it's a 15GB tech demo. Some of you may be sitting there thinking, Jingles sounds a little bit annoyed. I wonder what... You're bloody right I am. I just can't believe the massive brass balls of Roberts Space Industries in that they're forcing... Well, they're not forcing, you don't have to download it if you don't want to, but if you do wish to stay up to date with Star Citizen, then people are potentially going to be downloading this for days. And at the end of it all, they're not going to actually see anything new. And they have the nerve to call this Star Citizen 1.1? Please. Oh, this is not Arena Commander anymore. It's Star Citizen now, is it? Okay, well, where's the first-person shooter module? Where's the open world universe? Where's the storyline? It's Star Citizen 1.1, my fat arse. It's barely even Arena Commander 1.2. So, yes, I'm a little bit pissed off. Well, anyway... Despite the fact that there is very, very little new to actually show you in this massive update to Star Citizen, there is something. And that, of course, is the Retaliator. Hang on a minute, I just took a sip of liquor from the bar that just appeared in my hangar, and now my vision's gone all blurry. Remember, kids, liquor is bad for you, okay? I hate that. I really do hate that when games treat you like a child. I'm 45 years old, thanks very much. I think I'll be the judge of whether or not liquor's good or bad for me. But anyway, there she is, the Retaliator. Finally. Over a year ago I pledged for this ship, and they've finally put the model in the game. You can't actually fly around in it. Of the 2 new ships that have been introduced in the game with this patch, the Retaliator and the Gladius is also in the game, and you can fly around in the Arena Commander module in the Gladius, not the Retaliator. Although... that does kind of make sense, because this is not a dogfighter. Look at the size of this thing. It's the same size as the Constellation you can see over in the background to the left there. In fact, it's internally, it even feels bigger. It's got multiple decks. Let's see if I can figure out how to get on board. That looks like well, there's one gun turret. That looks like an access port there. The interface is the interface is another one of the things that I'm not terribly keen about with Star. Oh, there we go. You've got. I mean, there's no obvious. They've tried to go for something that's as realistic as. Whoa, crap! See that? The ship tried to kill me. Okay, all right. Okay, so that central ring isn't actually the access port. There are 2 docking elevators here. Yeah, the whole... you can see what they've tried to do. That they don't want to ruin the look of the game with icons popping up all over the place. So they've tried to make it the interface as unobtrusive as possible, and that's great, but it often leaves you not knowing what to do or where to go. Oh well. But, whoa! Look at that. Those are the torpedoes. The Retaliator is a heavy bomber. It's a torpedo launcher. And those are two of the torpedoes. Oh, there's a ladder here. Oh, here we go. Here's the upper deck. What we got up here? Let's see. Okay, that doesn't appear to go anywhere. That's just going to take me straight back downstairs. What's through here? Okay, what's the point of this deck? There's nothing up here. Oh wait, those might be sleeping quarters. What are those? Look like weapon racks. I wonder if this looks a lot like a sort of boarding module. Where, hang on, what's that? Okay, that's the way back down. And, oh, up there, that looks like a gun turret. I wonder if this thing's designed to also carry marine boarding parties, because those look an awful lot like weapon racks. And that is definitely a gun turret, but I can't see any way. You see, this is what I'm talking about with the interface. There's no obvious click here to get in the gun turret button. It's entirely possible that the gun turrets are not yet functional. That has happened with other ships when they've introduced them into the well, not into the game, but into the hangar, and they've made them mostly interactive, but not everything. I'm pretty sure I had that with the Constellation when I first got my hands on it. So okay, the gun turrets don't work yet, but let's have another look around. You know, no matter what else you say about Star Citizen, these guys know how to design a realistic, believable looking ship. Here's another bunk. Not sure what that is. Doesn't seem to lead anywhere. This, you can immediately tell the difference between something like this and something like the Constellation, because this is clearly a military vessel. Oh, there's the cockpit. It's space is at a premium on these things. Every single spare piece of space is dedicated to something. You wander around inside the Constellation, you've got space to stretch your legs. Not on the Retaliator. Crew comfort is definitely a secondary issue on this thing. Every single spare piece of available space has got some kind of system or module in it. The bare minimum of space is provided for you to actually get around the ship. Absolutely everything is packed full of equipment and modules, and it's a lot like wandering around inside a submarine. No space is wasted on one of those things either. I mean, this is definitely a military vessel compared to something like the Constellation. Oh, inside the torpedo bay. So 2 torpedoes in this bay. Doesn't seem like a massive loadout, but then again, these are ship killer torpedoes. I mean, look at the size of those things. They've got to be nukes. See the bay doors down below, where they open up and then extend on those robotic arms. What we got through here? Let's have a look. What's this? I have no idea. Oh my god, another torpedo launch bay, but no torpedoes in this one. So it can actually carry 4 torpedoes. Although I seem to recall reading somewhere in the blurb on the Retaliator that it was the civilianized version, and instead of carrying torpedoes, it was all given over to cargo space. That certainly doesn't appear to be the case on mine. Okay, this doesn't appear to lead anywhere yet. Oh, there's another gun turret up there. Okay, how many turrets is this now? It does seem to be a ridiculously well-armed ship. Again, if there's a way of getting into these gun turrets, I couldn't find it. What's through here? No, that looks like it should go somewhere. Could be the engine core, I don't know. Nothing up there. Some lockers. And I wonder if there's another gun turret on this side. Yep, there is. There's another one. So there are two rear gun turrets on the upper surface of the ship. There's one gun turret on the... Oh, actually, there's two rear gun turrets on the upper surface of the ship, and one gun turret up forward up top. Let's have a look at this thing from the outside. I am very, very impressed with this, by the way, in case it wasn't immediately obvious. Like I said, you can say what you like about the lack of progress with actually getting the game out of the door and integrating all the various different systems and massive, massive content patches giving us very, very little new, but they sure know how to make a good looking starship. So there's one turret at the back. Look at this thing. It just looks military. It's an exceptionally nice design. There should be another turret on this side at the back. Oh, bit of a graphical glitch there. No, nothing's perfect. Is there another? Yep, there it is. Is that a turret under the chin? Oh, look at that. It's like a space B-1 bomber. Or do I mean a B-2? Oh, I can't remember. Yep, there we go. There's a chin turret. And we know that there's a turret on the top to the rear of the cockpit as well. So that's 4 gun turrets. Each armed with 2 guns. And that looks like, I don't know if that's a weapon or a refueling probe sticking out from the side of the cockpit. This is one ferociously well-armed ship. And it doesn't hurt that it looks sexy as all hell as well. So I do have to applaud Robert Space Industries for the design. And I've waited over a year for this thing, by the way. So, you know, it had better be good. And it is good. And there's my Constellation. It's about the same size as the Retaliator. I did not expect the Retaliator to be this big. Look at the size of that beast. It's absolutely huge. I think it may even be bigger than the Constellation. I thought the Constellation was going to be the biggest ship I was going to be able to pledge. And don't forget that these are pledge ships. I mean, I said the Retaliator package will cost you $300. You're not actually buying a ship for $300. You're pledging towards helping develop the game. Yeah, of course $300 is an obscene amount of money for a starship in a game, but that's not what the money is for. If you do not wish to blow $300 on a Retaliator package, then don't do it. Just wait for the game to go live and buy Retaliator in-game with in-game credits, and it won't actually cost you any real money. Those of us who have pledged towards getting ships in our virtual hangars before the game goes live, we're not actually buying ships. We're funding the development of the game, and everybody who has bought a ship from the pledge store knows this, or if you don't know that, then you really need to read. Because it's not like Robert Space Industries have tried to hide the fact. It's all over the pledge store. You're not actually buying ships. I mean, you're getting a ship, but what you're doing is funding the development of the game. Well, that's what the pledge store is for. If you don't want to pledge, then fine, don't do it. Just wait for the game to go live and get the ships in the game without spending any real money. Meanwhile, at the other end of the hangar, there's my Constellation again from the other side. Beautiful ship. I can't wait to actually fly that thing with a crew. And then over here we've got my Avenger, we've got my M50 Interceptor in red because red ones go faster, and then the black F7C Hornet Ghost, which is a stealth fighter. A couple of other ships at the other end of the hangar, so we'll jump back in the Grey Cat and go take a quick look at those. It's unfair, of course, to say that there is absolutely nothing new in what they are calling Star Citizen 1.1. Yes, there's the new Gladius fighter, and there's the Retaliator package, which is now finally in the hangar. You can fly the Gladius, you can't fly the Retaliator, but that's not all. They've introduced the ability to actually land the starship. There's nothing to actually land them on, of course. Whoa, some strong physics right there. They've thrown a couple of landing platforms, and they are quite literally just that, just a platform floating around in space in some of the Arena Commander maps. So you can go ahead and land and then take off again. That's it. Because of course they haven't yet integrated the whole first-person shooter module, or what they're calling Star Marine, into the Arena Commander module. So it's great. You know, the system's there. You can't actually do anything with it. And that's actually what's pissing me off so much about Star Citizen lately, because I'm sitting here making all these excuses. that, yeah, there's a massive amount of data has actually gone into this patch, but all of it's in the background. You know, it's there to ensure seamless integration when they come to introduce the first-person shooter module, and then this module and that module. But I was making these excuses for Star Citizen 6 months ago when there was another massive patch with practically nothing to show for it. And it's starting to get really old. I realise I am probably mortally offending all the Star Citizen fanboys out there, but I just don't care, because I'm getting very, very tired of going through massive multi-gigabyte patches that are bigger than any 3 other games on my hard drive and seeing almost nothing new at the end of it. I just can't really get excited about Star Citizen anymore, at least until they introduce the first-person shooter module. Wake me up when I can download that, and I might actually start getting excited about Star Citizen again, but at the moment, it's just same shit, different day. So, Star Citizen 1.1, which you could be forgiven for thinking was Arena Commander 1.0 with 2 new ships, one of which you can fly, the ability to land on things that float around in space and don't do anything, and the ability to rent stuff from the pledge store that you would otherwise have to pay actual money for, simply by playing ranked Arena Commander matches, and that is pretty much it. If that seems a little underwhelming for something that they're proudly calling Star Citizen 1.1, well, that's because it is distinctly underwhelming. So here's hoping that Star Citizen Patch 1.2 is going to be something slightly more than just Arena Commander 1.0 with a different version number, and not just another multi-gigabyte download with nothing up front to show for it, but lots and lots of seamless integration going on in the background in order to prepare Star Citizen for future content patches that never really seem to materialise. Fingers crossed, we can but hope.